Driscoll with EMSNOW. Welcome to another edition of EMSNOW Up Close. Today I am joined by Quintin Armstrong, Senior Manager with Co-Young Americas with responsibility for technical services and applications. So we'll get him to explain what that means here in just a moment. So thank you for taking time today, Quintin. Last time I saw you, I believe it was Apex earlier this year. You've been with Co-Young just under a year, I guess, right?
Just a year now. Yeah, a year and a few days.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you begin by maybe giving a brief introduction to both yourself and Co-Young for the benefit of the audience.
All right, I'll do that. It's good to see you again, Eric. And as you mentioned, the last time we did speak was at Apex last January, I guess that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're in some interesting times here with this whole COVID situation and all the challenges that that presented to everybody, and really, I would say quite unexpectedly. I know in my situation, I was working in the office on Friday afternoon in March. And contrary to what I expected that Friday afternoon, I didn't go back into the office the following Monday. And, you know, so things changed suddenly for all of us in trying to figure out where all this was going and what it meant and what we needed to do, should do, and so on. So as you can imagine, in the service world, you know, all the technical services and applications and everything that comes into that umbrella, it presented a lot of challenges to make those adjustments so abruptly. And at the same time that we were going through those changes and figuring out how to handle it for the benefit of our customers were doing the same thing. How are they going to handle visits, and how is this going to impact their production plans and so on now? You know, it affected everything from support that we knew in the day-to-day to installations on site and everything that follows from that, pre and post applications, everything was affected. Yeah. And suddenly nobody was traveling. So,
right.
Some of this stuff that you know, we were just so accustomed to was suddenly not the norm anymore. Mm-hmm. And so like everybody, you know, we were scrambling to make those adjustments as quickly as possible. But fortunately, with the tools that we had in place and the basic way that we handled these sorts of support operations in the day-to-day, we kind of had the pieces in place that we needed to be able to make those adjustments rather readily and effectively. So we were able to utilize those things and start doing things like some dedicated support, having the guys that wouldn't normally go visit the customer, visit them virtually. Mm-hmm. And use a lot of the video and other types of technical methods that we have, you know, particular information and document exchange to be able to accomplish things even like installations. Now, that was easier in cases with customers that already had Co-Young equipment and had a certain familiarity with it from that standpoint. But even so, even all that stuff had been greatly reduced as everybody made their adjustments as they saw fit for their situation. And, you know, some were continuing almost as normal as essential types of operations and getting involved in making ventilators and other things that were so critical. So through all of those means, we were able to make a lot of adjustments to be able to keep things going forward effectively and fairly efficiently, considering all the circumstances.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Now your team is spread all over the Americas too, right? I mean, so you had people who would be out all of a sudden working all remotely in their home offices. Is that correct?
Right, and like I said, it was sudden.
Yeah.
We all thought Monday was going to be the beginning of another normal week, and it turned out that the adjustments were made over the weekend, and we weren't going into the office. The guys weren't traveling all of a sudden, And like you mentioned, they're spread throughout the entire country here in the U.S. It's a big territory to cover with lots of customers spread out pretty much everywhere. Bigger cities and smaller remote towns, pretty much everywhere. Mexico, it's maybe somewhat easier from the perspective that it tends to be more in some certain pockets in that territory, but the same challenges. And then of course we have our reps throughout the rest of the Americas areas. So all of us were affected by that, and it presented the challenge to the entire group throughout the Americas.
So you indicated that you had to adjust to the new reality, but you were also leveraging processes that you'd already been employing with your customers. Is that correct?
Right. Now this kind of goes back to maybe some of the conversation we had months ago, and that was shortly after I came on board with Co-Young.
Right.
And certainly Co-Young has had tremendous growth for several years, and fortunately that continues. In being able to meet those challenges, there were some changes, adjustments, and things that needed to be made to be able to do that the most effectively. And one thing certainly is, excuse me, Co-Young has the strongest support system in this niche of the industry. And to be able to put all this together in the most effective format and try to do things identically between the different regions within the region of the Americas is helpful to the organization and to our customers. Certainly several of our customers have factories in various countries, and several locations within each country perhaps. So all of that helps to provide a better service for our customers. And that comes everything from pre-sales applications, demos, evaluations, and the things that we already did were allowed us to be able to do that remotely on a rather short notice. And everything is a continuous improvement project, but making a few adjustments in a short period of time, we're able to provide the training as was absolutely needed. Of course, we can't just have everybody come in for training classes now, like had been the case as we got our beautiful new office opened in Duluth and near Atlanta, a fantastic training center, demo room, and that all had to go virtual on a very short notice. So the guys all pulled together, the whole team, and it's been rather effective for a very challenging and sudden situation.
Yeah. So Tom, you actually raised an issue there that, when I look at the purview of what you cover from the service group, the field support training and pre and post sales support, and you just touched on the pre-sale piece. So I always think of pre-sales as being the sales piece. So for my benefit, maybe explain when you're talking about the pre-sales, what exactly is that? Is that working with the customers to define their needs specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, sales goes out and finds the prospects and these customers that have some need that needs to be fulfilled in our inspection realm. And then they want to find out more about the specifics, about their particular applications, the products that they run, the components and everything else that comes into play on those products, and how our solution will help them resolve some issue and make their process better. So, at that point, you get into evaluating their products and how their needs can be addressed by our equipment and various solutions we have through the software and other tools to provide them with the best overall solution for their needs. So that all happens before a PO comes in and a machine goes to a customer site that needs to be installed. So.
And it also starts developing that business relationship that can then so it's not so awkward to transfer from sales to service. You have that relationships developing already. So I see that could be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's very critical. And all of us, we've all known each other for quite a long time and worked in different areas of the industry. And that's a common value that we have, that really for all of this to work out to everybody's greatest benefit, it needs to be a strong cooperation between sales and service. And I'm absolutely certain that everybody involved in this whole puzzle believes that, sales goes out and gets the first sale, brings the customer in, but then it's that collaboration between service and sales that keeps that going to everybody's benefit.
Yeah.
So that sort of cooperation is absolutely critical for everybody's sake.
Yeah. So tell me, are you able to start getting on sites now again? How is that working?
Yes, and we did throughout the whole situation. Of course, it had to be determined that there was an absolute necessity, possibly a machine down type scenario that just couldn't be addressed in a timely manner remotely, and all that got better as we went on. But for certain situations, people were traveling. May have meant traveling by car in some cases where normally they would go by taking a flight somewhere.
Right.
But one way or another, we met those needs. And as this situation has developed and things have opened up a bit more now, we're back to pretty much normal travel activities. There's a lot of checks and restrictions and things like that make it more complicated than normal. But in as much as can be where we are in this situation overall, it's back to a more normal level of travel and those types of normal activities.
Yeah. But that's interesting, because now I guess my follow-up would be, you adopted a certain way of doing business because of COVID and the pandemic and when that enforced on you. Now it's starting to get back to normal. Are there any elements of what you were doing during the pandemic that you saw as useful, beneficial, maybe more cost-effective that you might maintain moving forward now?
Well, I guess it really kind of falls into that whole continuous improvement idea. There's always a huge wish list of everything that we'd like to have in the ideal world. And there are a lot of those things on the list. It takes time to get to each one, and sometimes the parameters change along the way.
Yeah.
But I think that this situation really highlighted the focus on a few things to enhance those remote support capabilities to better meet these needs as are needed, either given the current situation that we've been facing or anything that might come in the future. So it certainly has highlighted the focus on some of these things and how we can use those to our advantage going forward. Certainly I don't think that it's going to change to the point where everything is just shipped in a box and send the customer a little instruction list like they might get if they buy some cheap bookshelf from a box store or something like that.
Right.
But certainly some pieces in place that can be utilized when the situation deems that that's the appropriate way to go.
Okay, good. Now, Co-Young is a global company, right? Headquartered out of South Korea. So other than just the Co-Young America support, how do your customers benefit, and what can they leverage out of the greater Co-Young in the process?
Well, like I mentioned, Co-Young really provides the greatest support infrastructure in this niche of the industry. I think it really is an example for anyone in our industry, really. Not just from the size, but from the quality of the support and the various levels we have. The help desk for the remote support as the tickets that come in. Nowadays, people tend to avoid phone calls, and these things are handled through messaging. So that is kind of the way a lot of support things are handled nowadays, and we have excellent capability there. And then the applications work of it, both pre and post sales. A lot of times customers' needs change along the way, and being able to effectively meet those needs, whether that be hands-on, in person, or remote, virtual type of thing. Co-Young is able to handle that very well worldwide, and certainly an excellent support infrastructure of being able to be at customer sites worldwide and provide that whole range of support that a customer really needs. It's not just a matter of selling a machine and saying, great, we got that sale. But it's a whole support relationship from pre-sale to post-sale and continuing for years to come. And I think, really Co-Young is able to provide that like none of our competitors that we see in the market. So that's a great thing. I think we may have talked about this before, but you just look at the portion of the organization that is involved in that whole thing, from R&D to support, through all these different areas of support that we've talked about. 60 to 70% of the company is focused on those efforts. Basically 70% within our particular Co-Young Americas arrangement, but 60% on average overall. So it's significant.
Yeah. Listen, just kind of in wrapping up here, what else have you came on, like we were saying at the beginning, about a year ago. You were from the industry, and were charged with taking over the service, the customer support, and solidifying that function and enhancing it. Is there anything else that you've been doing other than what we've been talking about, that maybe you've been doing? You guys were hiring like crazy, last year. I don't know how that's going this year for you still. It's probably a different environment, but is there anything else that you're doing there to solidify that customer support team since you've joined?
Well, it's kind of ironic, the timeline and all of this, because, our Americas office was located in Chandler, Arizona. And with the move to the Atlanta area, it was a totally different situation, a much better facility, really a nice facility. We really invite everybody to come visit us and see what we have now. But excellent training facilities, demo room facilities, and everything that's needed to provide the total service to the customer. And so my focus is, must be an amber or silver alert. I'm sorry.
Oh my. Hopefully not on you, right? So.
If that's the case, it's probably a silver alert. So anyway, my apologies. So where was I with that? Where was I?
You were talking about the move into the new facility.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. So that really, just from the physical infrastructure standpoint, provided us a much better channel to demonstrate these support areas and provide the best solutions and opportunities for our customers. So that certainly has been critical in the overall picture. And then, like I said, being able to develop the harmony throughout the organization, that, it's a bit of chaos to have such great growth. Not that that's any complaint, but it also creates a special need and some more resources to make all that happen the way that it really should. So that's been my focus, and it's really been good to see what's happening. But the whole timeline was really ironic, because right as this is really taking shape, we opened the office last April. I joined last August, the beginning of last August. And all of a sudden in March, the brakes were put on, and, hiring was put on hold and everything, as we all tried to find out what was going to happen and where this was going to go. So we still have a lot of those plans in place, and are looking at resuming those intentions now to finish those endeavors. But we had a little bit of a pause, and now we're kind of hitting the accelerator again. So
right. Now, as are many in the industry, right? I mean, things are starting to pick up and return to whatever normal is now. And, clearly there's some of this will stick with us as we move forward. But
yeah, I think it's been great. I think this really says something about our industry. There's been a lot of cooperation between the different companies, and, really even including competitors in normal circumstances. To help everybody somehow get a grasp on this and understand it, and kind of help each other out with where to go. These were definitely unprecedented circumstances.
Right.
And certainly none of us really expected this to ever happen, not now or probably in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because I heard it said early on in this whole pandemic that it's not us versus them anymore, it's us versus it, right? So
Yeah.
you're speaking to that with the collaboration even among competitors there. So you're right, that is a testament to the industry. So, and the quality of people that work in it. So, listen, I've always appreciated catching up with Ko Young. Usually it's in person, but this actually works too quite well. You guys are quite a successful company and experience that incredible growth, especially in the Americas over the years. So I'm sure at some point I'll catch up with Juan again at a show and he'll brag about it some more. But it's great to hear this side of it again and reinforcing, because this is that ongoing business sustainable kind of the service side of it. So so thank you for your time. I wish you nothing but continued success, and hopefully we continue to show again probably in 2022. Right? So.
Yeah, with SMTAI going virtual, I'm anxious to see what's going to happen with IPC Apex.
I've heard rumors already, right? And even consumer electronics is going virtual, the CES.
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we don't know what the future holds, so we all have to be kind of agile and adaptable in this environment.
I say let's get on with it, but
I'm with you on that. So, Quintin, again, thank you, sir, and hopefully we catch up again soon.
thank you very much, Eric. Good seeing you again, and take care.